Rightio, guys, how are we going? Welcome to the live broadcast. Australia have absolutely annihilated England. You beauty, the baggy green has come through and had a bit of a win. We're going to get Harmy on in a minute. He's in a car. He's driving away from the studio, a little disappointed, but we'll try and get his spirits up very quickly. Ata Burrell, good to see you again here live with us. Snena Hagu Kumar, how are you going? Let's just live down here while Harmy's just trying to get his live stream up while he's in the car. Virat lovers, we're going to talk about Virat Kohli too at the end of this vlog, with him losing the one-day captaincy. But there we go. Harmy, how are you going, mate? Is it all right over there in England?
Yeah, I'm not bad, Hoggy. It's just after 4 o'clock in the morning. Just leave the studios at BT. Bit despondent, sitting next to Sir Alistair Cook, who at Brisbane 10 years ago managed to save the draw. Unfortunately, our boys this time couldn't do it. Great performance by Australia, but England weren't really at the races for probably 3 of the 4 days.
Yeah, well, it's disappointing because Joe Root and Milan had a wonderful partnership, got England back into the contest, and you still had 8 wickets in hand. And then we wake up this morning, 8 for 77. You've got to be disappointed with that performance.
Absolutely, 100%. You can put the into context about, we did some stuff. I think it was something like the Australia batsmen since the 1st of September, which was last time England played Test cricket, had faced over 3,500 cricket balls. England's in competitive games, England was 800, Australia 1000s, 950s. England's was 100, 250s, and that 100 was Joss Butler's in the T20 World Cup. So England were underprepared going into it. But what a fight back yesterday. They were brilliant yesterday. But that underprepared. England's batting lineup really, really poor when it comes to numbers. And if you look at it, in 2021, Joe Root scored 600s. Rory Burns scored 100. And no other English batsman has scored 100. So this morning, when you looked at it, as soon as one went, you feared that what was going to happen, there was going to be a deck of cards and England would struggle from there.
Yeah, look, I'm looking at some positives for England here. Yeah, I'm Australia, and I'm going to be a little cheeky here. I've got my lawn bowls here, bagging 367, and they bowled over the blue today. But look, I'm looking forward to this series moving forward because we've got the orange ball coming up next. What I was impressed with was Pope and Butler in the first innings. They were under pressure with the partnership they put forward together there. And then Milan standing up with Joe Root in the second innings. So there's a few positives there. It's just that middle order's got to put it together in a couple of innings to put the pressure on the Australian bowlers. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. I think you've got to look at, there's quite a few players haven't played. In Stokes is the biggest one who hasn't played a competitive match since July. There's a big ask on Ben Stokes. They're getting used to playing under Australian conditions. Hoggy, you know yourself, the Gabba is such.
Harmy's just dropped out there. Harmy has just dropped out there. He's talking about Gabba conditions. Trying to get adapted to Gabba conditions over from England is very difficult. And when Australians go over to England, it's quite difficult for us as well, especially with the Duke ball, a little bit of slowness off the wicket. And that Duke ball for the spinners can get a little bit slippery. Continue, please, Harmy. We've got you back, mate.
Yeah, you talk about the middle order. I think the middle order does have to stand up. But unfortunately for England, it's the top order that needs to perform. The top order has to get runs in Australia. If you can't win, you can't even contemplate winning in Australia if your top order doesn't get runs. Milan stood up this innings, which was great. Burns has had a shocker. Hamid, I thought, left the ball brilliantly. Apart from Marnus Labuschagne, I think the best person that left the ball in the Test match was Harmison Hamid. So that is a plus point. I think the bowlers worked tirelessly hard. But yes, you're right. I think that middle order, it needs to stand up and be a little bit better. But if you don't get top order runs, then the middle order gets exposed, a little bit like what we're seeing today. We had a partnership yesterday getting us to 200. We were 220 for 2, and we didn't even get 300. That's worrying from an English point of view.
Yeah, and now I'm going to just go back to the previous day when Wood and Head was going, and you opened the attack on the third day with Head out there on 100. Why would they not go with Head up front And why were they trying to bowl short to head when he's got a high average with the short ball? If you just hit him on a good length there, especially early on, new start to the day, he's quite vulnerable there, and you could have got that breakthrough early on and then not such a big total to chase.
Sorry, I've just lost you there. I think I've lost the sound.
Oh, I was talking about Wood and Robinson not opening up in that third day yesterday when Head was just restarting his innings. Head can be quite vulnerable early on in when he restarts his innings. And he's very good with the short ball. That's where he averages most of his runs off the short ball, but off a good length, he's not. And I just thought not opening up with Wood, with pace, and also trying to attack him with the short ball was a bit too much on that on yesterday's when Australia started their innings. Because if you got Head out, all of a sudden that total's a little shorter, and you could have had a bit bigger lead on the final day or the fourth day today.
Yeah, I think I must admit I'm struggling to hear a little bit, but you talk about the Robinson and Wood effect. I think Robinson, he's a tall man who, it's bizarre, Hoggy, because you look at the bowlers around the world that are very successful, and it's around that 2 meter height release point, and Robinson's actually got a higher release point than the three Australian bowlers, and Wood's got the pace. So if you could put the two of them together, then there would be a dangerous combination because of the release point from Robinson, the heat of Mark Wood, but then you would say that is what Mitchell Starc, Josh Hazlewood and Pat Cummins are as bowlers in themselves. I thought Mark Wood was brilliant in this test match. He's aggressive. He doesn't take a step back. I think Robinson, the one thing we've got to the one thing we've got to learn about Robinson is it's only his 5th test match. His body is used to playing 4-day cricket for Sussex. His body's not international hardened yet, and I think that is going to need some time to come. And I think we've seen signs of that at the Gabba, that he wasn't as durable as what England would like to. And when you only bowl at 78, 79 mile an hour, if you have a drop off, then you get down to 75, 76. It's not as effective. It's nowhere near as effective, no matter what height and how tall you come from. But signs are good from Robinson. We've got a pink ball game around the corner. Mark Wood, we've got to keep him fit to try and get him to keep him playing, because you can go on rest and rotation as much as you want. We have 3 bad days at Adelaide, and we're 2-0 down inside 7 days of the Ashes. No point resting somebody when the Ashes is gone.
Yeah, well, the pink ball test is where you're going to get back into the competition, and there's 2-day night matches as well, and that suits England more than Australia. So you've got to capitalise on that. But with Robinson, I'll give him 2 more years, and I think he'll get that durability up, and I think he's going to be one of the greats in Test cricket, because I just love what I saw. I love the way that he fought, and I just think that's good signs for England. And the other good sign is that you've got Broad and Anderson to come back in the next Test match as well. Are you going to go with Pope? That's a big question. Are you going to go with a spinner in this next Test match? Because we went after Pope from the start. We knew that was a little bit of a weakness. We wanted to put pressure on Root, and Root came up with in the final at the end with the press conference and said, "I didn't have a defensive enough field for Leach. It's my fault, not Leach's fault." So he's backing the bowler there. Can you hear me?
No, sorry, I can hardly hear you, man.
I could see you moving the phone around there.
I think you were touching on the spinner. And the point I will make about Jack Leach, again, I sound like a breaking record. It might be, we are going over old ground with comes to sort of preparation. You need a few overs under your belt. I thought Australia played him brilliantly. I thought they went hard at him. I've gone and, back to my day when Ashley Giles or Richard Dawson in the 2002-3 trip, when Haydos and Ricky Ponting were just coming down the wicket at will and belting him into the stand, puts pressure on the other seamers. I don't think he plays at Adelaide. Broad and Anderson come back in. They've got a great record with a pink ball, but unfortunately for England, so is Hazlewood, so is Starc, and so is Cummins. So it's going to be a fight. The thing I would say about the Adelaide game is the toss is crucial. England made the mistake for me. England should have bowled first when they won the toss. Broad should have played, because Broad would have made a difference on that wicket. Whether it would have been a winning and losing, I'm not so sure. But I'm not sure Australia would have got that far ahead. Andy's a leader. Andy he does things when things aren't quite right. When things are meandering a little bit and you're struggling to get a wicket, Broad's body language is brilliant when it comes to that. I don't think Leach plays at Adelaide. I think Broad and Anderson play, along with Wood has to play, because he's a firepower. He got Smith for next to nothing. He put the frighteners up to Davey Warner, and he's the only thing that stands between England's tail. England's tail, there was a difference between 100 runs between England's tail and Australia's tail. It'll be between Woakes and Robinson. They like Woakes because of his batting, because England's depth. But unfortunately, I think Woakes would be the one to go for me if Robinson pulls up all right, because actually Robinson bowled the best. But in Adelaide, if you don't get runs, it doesn't matter what bowlers you've got, you can't control the game, and the pink ball will be lost to the better bowler, to the better team.
Yeah, well, if your top 7 don't make the runs, you can't rely on your bowlers to make too many runs as well. So for me, England have got to get their top order right and make sure they're consistent, and their bowlers together as well. Look, when everyone says bat first, that was a wrong decision. I kind of disagree with that, because if I really look out the Test match, where the difference was that Warner wicket where the Stokes was not warned about overstepping the mark in the first 4 balls. You can talk about the technology, but you've got to adapt to that. One of the directors down there in the dugout should have been up there talking to the third umpire, saying Stokes is bowling no balls. Get a warning out there, because as a fast bowler, you're in a different environment. You've just started your run up out. And that was early on in his spell as well. And he felt that he was bowling correctly with the right run-up. So for me, that was a technical blunder that cost England in this series, because if they got Davey Warner out there with Wood fresh, out Smith and Labuschagne, anything could have happened, and he would have had enough in the gas to bowl 150 plus to Travis Head early on in his innings as well. Would you agree with that little statement with the technology?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, I think. But when you look at it, it's like 2 wrongs don't make a right. It's 2 wrongs make a wrong, unfortunately. And I think when you look at it, Stokes, his foot was over the line. He should have been behind the line from the very, very start. He wasn't. And as much as I would like to complain about the technology, and we lost the world feed commentating throughout today, and it got a bit chip shop-ish after a while. But I agree totally. If his foot was behind the line, he gets Warner. It makes a difference because Labuschagne and Smith get in early. But as a former fast bowler, I've got no sympathy. The white line's there for a reason, and if you've got size 12s, you should be able to keep something behind it.
I love the way you're talking there, and that's what I love about Joe Root. There's no excuses. He hasn't blamed his players. He's taken responsibility for certain things that have happened out in the middle, and that just shows true leadership, and that's what I love about Joe Root. Now, just the last point before we get to the questions, Hazlewood, Stokes and Warner for the next Test match. They look as though they are all unfit. For Australia, Hazlewood not playing would have Jai Richardson coming in, and that's probably a blessing in disguise in a sense, because Jai Richardson gets a lot more swing than Hazlewood. But if you lose Stokes, you're in big trouble. And if we lose Warner up the top of the order, we're very vulnerable, and that's where you can expose Labuschagne and Smith early. So what do you think about those 3 little injuries moving into the second Test match before we get to the questions?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Warner. He's going to be sore. Is he going to come out and play? They say he's not got broken ribs. We all know what it's like with side injuries. That's an issue. Whether it's a good technical issue with Hazlewood, right? If he's going to miss a game, why not miss Adelaide? Because he's more of a seam bowler than a swing bowler, and Richardson comes into it. Actually, Stokes could do England a favour by not having Stokes as bowling, because what they might do is they'll just play him as a batsman. There's no way Ben Stokes is not playing. They'll play him as a batsman, and they'll use 4 seamers, and that means he doesn't have to bowl. That means they can definitely leave the spinner out and not have the worry of playing 5 seamers.
Exactly right. I like it. And, I still think it's going to be close. You've just pulled up to your hotel, haven't you? Yep, there we go. Harmy's out and he's walking around and he's getting back into his hotel there. Now, have we got any questions there, Arita? Please, can you get them up, please? Arita's just behind the scenes helping us out here with all the graphics and so forth. Arita, you there? There we go. Addy Kushrita, how you going, sir? What will be the approach of England after this loss? I'll leave that one to Harmy. Can you hear that one, Harmy? What would be the approach of England after this loss? Sir, love your analysis and your commentary. That's for you, Harmy.
I can't quite hear you, so I'll just read the question that comes. So what will be the approach of the England after the loss? Love your analysis and the commentary. Well, thanks very much. I just look at the approach that England had was they were trying to be brave by batting first. It was the brave decision to bat first, but unfortunately, bravery is one thing, ability and being good enough is another thing. I don't think England's batsmen are good enough at this minute in time for Joe to make a decision like he did this week. If he had Alistair Cook, Surendra Strauss, and Jonathan Trott as his 1, 2, 3 with Bell and Peterson and Collingwood behind it, then fair enough, you might be able to get through the first 2 hours. But unfortunately, our batters aren't good enough to bat for 2 hours in a conditions like we had with no preparation. That's no surprise me. It doesn't surprise me when we're 40 for 4.
And especially when you've got those bowlers of Wokes and Robinson that are more seam bowlers than pace bowlers, and you don't have that. So totally agree with you there, Harmy. Have we got the next question, please, Arita? There we go. Atal Barrow, how you going, buddy? Good to see you. And I know that you get on Harmy's channel as well, so thanks for supporting both of us. Can England break Australia's undefeated day-night test winning streak at Adelaide, or will Australia continue their dominance in the day-night ones? Harmy, I'm thinking that Australia are probably a little dominant at this stage. Mitchell Stark getting the ball to swing, and he will do with that pink ball, especially if we bowl under lights with the new ball as well. I think that's really going to trouble the England top order, and I think that's where we can take away the game. But on a spectator's sense, I really want to see England fight back and put pressure on Australia because I want to see a close-fought series. It's good for the spectators, good for the fans, and good for the game. What do you think? Do you think England can come back here in the pink ball test match?
Yeah, another toss could be crucial, but unfortunately, I come back to top order runs. Day-night games, Australia's won all 5 of their day-night games. England are very good in day-night cricket because they've got Broad and Anderson. But it's not just a case of, right, run up and bowl with a pink ball at night time. There are passages of play where in the middle of the day, it is flat and it's hard to play cricket, it's hard to bat on. And I think England have got to get their heads around that. England supporters have got to get their heads around it. It's not just, Broad. We've got a day-night game and we've just getting a day-night game in Hobart. It's Broad and Anderson. We're going to win. It doesn't work like that. You've got to score runs for your captain to be able to dictate, first of all, when to declare. You've got to get you get runs, and then you've got to declare when the pink ball becomes as potent as it does, or you're not in the game. All of a sudden, if you're chasing your tail and you're behind in the pink ball and the opposition of captain has got his decision spot on to declare at the time when the ball is at its best and swinging, well, you can have Broad and Anderson, but you've got to counter that with Stark, Cummins and Hazelwood or Richardson. And when you look at what's happened so far in this test series in Brisbane, then it's going to be an uphill battle for the English batsmen. Fundamentals are the same. You win the toss, you get runs on first innings runs on the board, and then you've got a chance as a captain to control the game.
Yeah, I think if you bat first too, you either want to be bowled out with an hour to go at night so that you can you can fight your way back into the game. You don't want to be bowled out an hour before the first break on the second day because you want to be able to utilise a new ball under lights in the second evening. So you've either got to bat long in the first innings or get bowled out and give your bowlers a chance to get back in the game in that night game, in that night phase on the first night and put pressure on the opposition. Next question, please, Arita. There we go. Piyush Sharma, thanks very much, mate. Do you think that Butler is batting too low in the lineup? We've just lost Harmy there. Hopefully he will get back on there. Look, when we're coming to Test cricket, I think Butler is batting out the right spot down there at number 7. He can play a counteractive type of innings like he did in the first innings, where the bowlers are worn out from Australia. And when those bowlers have bowled long spells in an innings, Butler's a type of player that can come out and really twist the game and turn the game on its head. He can do an Adam Gilchrist type role, and for me, I think they're happy to have Butler down there. Yes, in white ball cricket, I'd have him further up the order, but not in Test cricket. He's very Gilchrist-like, and I think he's going to do some damage moving forward through this Test series. All right, next question, please, Arita. Austin Dacuna, thanks very much for joining me. Hopefully, Harmy gets back on with us here so he can put his thoughts forward. India is the only team to win out the Gabba in 33 years. Hey, Austin, you're really getting stuck into the Aussies there. But that was a wonderful performance from India a couple of years ago. Despite losing wickets at regular intervals, they didn't collapse. Does this make Pant's innings of 89 not out one of the best? Look, I think Pant's innings out the Gabba was one of the best Test innings under pressure I have ever seen. It was fantastic. It was brilliant, and it just annihilated the Australian attack. But when I look at this particular Test match right now, the Root and Milan innings to fight England back into the contest and set this day up today, the fourth day, giving England a chance to put a total on the board to trouble Australia, I thought that was a real brilliant counteractive innings as well. So Milan and Root were just as special, but Pant, the way he annihilated Australia, took the game home with that 89 not out, is probably better than those two, but probably the best innings that we've seen out the Gabba from a touring team, because he won it off his own bat for them. I totally agree with you there, Austin. And anyone, just before we get to the next question, anyone want to ask a question about Virat Kohli not having the captaincy in the 50-over game and Rohit Sharma taking that now? I was going to try and ask Harmy with that particular point. I just want to bring it up while we're here live on Hog's Vlog. I just think this is a good move because Kohli should embrace it and relax about the whole situation and just concentrate on captaining the Test team. And you have a white ball captain. So basically, you've got Rohit Sharma just concentrating on the team that he wants in white ball cricket, and Virat Kohli focusing on Test cricket. It takes a lot of pressure off you. The media hype that's off the field, all of a sudden that relaxes Virat Kohli. He's only got to worry about the Test environment, and Rohit Sharma's just got to worry about the white ball environment, plus all the sponsorship commitments and the other commitments off field. I think this is going to be better for Virat Kohli. It's going to improve his performances, which have slightly dropped off since he's in the last couple of years when he's been under pressure, captaining all three teams. So I think it's a blessing in disguise. I just hope when they go on their next tour that the change room is not separated by this little slight division between these two particular players in the leadership role. I think both of them have got to embrace it, get in that change room and gel and move forward and take Indian cricket forward, because Indian cricket right now, with the talent that they've got, the depth that they've got in batting and bowling, should dominate world cricket over the next 5 years at least. It's only going to be a little bit of disruption between a couple of players that unsettles the network within the group. That will turn things around. Oh, Harmy, there you go. Look at you back home. Good. I was just quickly before we get on the next question, I just brought up Kohli while you were gone, not captaining one days and T20s and just captaining Tests. And for me, I think it's a good thing because it takes a lot of pressure both on and off the field, captaining all three forms of the game. What do you reckon about that?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think Kohli's at a point. I actually think Virat's at a point now where he probably just wants to play. I think it's so important that he keeps that. I think it's so important that for international Test match cricket, he keeps the Test captaincy, because I think he drives Test match cricket in the right way. You know, it's very important to him. He speaks about it passionately, cares about it, and in the world of T20 and all these franchise leagues around the world, I think having a leader of a powerful nation like India wanting and driving Test cricket forward is a great thing for international cricket. I think from a one-day point of view, it's an embarrassment of riches, isn't it? This team that India have got now in one-day cricket is it's nearly as, if not as good as what England's pool of one-day players are to play that side. So that format of the game. So I actually think, is it time? Is it the right time for him just to pass the baton on to Rowett and say, look, it's your team now, 50 overs, 20 overs. You set the benchmark. You go out front and captain and lead by the front. And I'll just drop back into being one of the lieutenants and continue to do and play Test match cricket as a leader for India. I think it's the right time.
Yep, definitely. All right, Aritia, can we get on to the next question, please, mate? Have we got one? There we go. Shubham Samantha. How you going, mate? Do you think England should change their opening pair? I don't. I think Rory Burns was very unlucky in the second innings. I like it. I like his courage, his guts. He's got an awkward technique, but it works for him. And I just love there's something mentally about him that I think he's going to turn things around in the series. And with the way that Hamid was leaving the ball in that first innings and the second innings as well, I think there's a lot of upside with these two. And it's very tough facing three quick bowlers with exceptional height and bowling at 140, 145 plus. A lot of pressure on them. So it's probably the hardest job in the world that these two are doing right now. And I think it's a little easier for our Australian openers because you don't have the extreme pace of three quicks. You've only got the one out and out quick for you guys. What do you think, Harmy?
Yeah, I think so. I think the two openers will stay the same for at least the next Test match. Right at the outset, I would have played Crawley over Hamid because the one thing about Zach Crawley is he's a tall man, stand there. I think he's built for Australian wickets. He plays with good high hands, hits through the line of the ball very, very well. But I think Hamid's played really, really well and left the ball well, and he's gone well in the first Test. So that for me, to stay the same. The Rory Burns one. Again, the jury's still out. He's averaging like mid-30s, early to mid-30s. He's played enough Test matches now to have a senior player's role in that side. He's the only other one from Joe Root that's got a Test match 100. There's a lot being made of that first ball. And my name cropped up about 85 times in that first session when he gets that first ball. And they were saying it's embarrassing and it's X and Y and Z. It wasn't. It's nowhere near in the same stratosphere to put connection to mine. Mine didn't even hit the strip I was aiming for, and that was embarrassing. His was he missed the leg stump half volley, which swung back in towards. I think his beans were going. I think he was a bit. It's the first ball of the Ashes. He's gripped his back tightly, and his front foot's just gone over far too far. And it's managed to expose the leg stump. The one thing I will say, though, Hoggy, that first ball from Mitchell Starc, if it had been a right-hander, any right-hander, that would have been out. Because that would have hit him flush on the middle of the pad if they didn't leave a gap between bat and pad to bowl him. It was a beauty of a ball to a right-hander. And, it was a leg stump, half volley to a left-hander. I'll throw one back to you on that ball, though, Hoggy. If that first ball, which is a leg stump, half volley, gets clipped for 4, where is Mitchell Starc's head? First ball of the Ashes, with question marks over him playing in that side.
Well, if you look at the second innings, he was going out over 5 and over as well. Once the ball stopped swinging and the English batsmen were finding it quite comfortable to play him. I just think with that, I think he would have been under a lot more pressure, and I think England would have had a better start. So it was just that particular ball that went Australia's way that got the momentum going in our favour. And Mitchell Starc's performance after that, you could see that he was upbeat, he was bowling quick, he was in rhythm. If it went for 4, that rhythm wouldn't have been there. I think he would have struggled a little bit over the next couple of overs that he bowled in that spell. Totally agree with you. And look, at the end of the day, that's probably the perfect ball that you can bowl as a left arm over the wicket to Rory Burns first up. I think he was trying to get him LBW on middle and leg and just went a bit too far down leg side, and lucky it swung back hitting the leg side. So there was a lot of luck in that particular delivery. All right, have we got any more questions, please, Arita? Rita's behind the scenes doing all the work for us. Thanks very much, Rita. Amar Jagam. If England have to win Test match, then their opener has to score minimum 30 to 40. Totally agree with you. That's each of them. And give a good platform to the England middle order. Chance to make a good score. Exactly right. And just as you were going up the lift there, Harmy, someone asked the question about Butler, whether he should be coming up the order. Well, it's up to that top order to make sure that they wear the Australian bowlers out and allow Butler to come in and do what he does best, because I think he can dominate just like Gilchrist down the bottom when the bowlers are worn out, and he can and slow down a little bit. He can really take the game away from any opposition team.
Yeah, he is. He's a match winner in himself, is Joss. But he hasn't done it in Test match cricket. 54, 55 Test matches, 2 or 3 Test match hundreds. It's the biggest conundrum for English cricket on whether Butler plays or Butler doesn't play. For me, I think Butler gives a lot more to the team in the dressing room, behind the stumps, right hand man to Joe Root as captain. But at some point, you're going to have to stand up, because when he got the job off Johnny Bairstow as a wicketkeeper batting 7 was averaging about 40. And then they tried to be a bit funky and play Johnny as a out-and-out batsman, Joss as a keeper, then Joss as an out-and-out batsman. I actually think this is a defining moment in Joss's career, this Ashes series. I think we've seen in the first innings, he banged Hazelwood over his head straight away, hit him through down the ground. He was very more one-day mode in that first innings. And I just wonder if he's thinking, you know what, this is my last Ashes, probably my last Ashes series. I'm going to have a go. I'm really going to have a go. I'm going to play my aggressive way, play and be dominant. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. I go back to my franchise cricket. I go back to my IPL, and I'll be the best one-day opening batsman or player that's going. So I just wonder if that's the way Joss is thinking. I thought that was what he was doing in the first innings. There was a little bit of a glimpse in the second innings, but England give him that platform in the second innings, and he only got 23 when wickets were tumbling around him. So England need all their superstars to stand up and fight and go. But I've said it, and I'll say it till I'm blue in the face. If you don't score runs in the top order in Australia as a visiting team, you don't win. You don't win the Ashes. You don't win the Ashes.
Yep. Exactly right. We've got time for one more question. All right. Adi Korshresta. I hope I said that right. Right. I know someone's going to have a bit of a laugh over there in India if I get it wrong. Sir, if there will be a Stuart Broad and James Anderson in the second match, out whom's place will they take? Well, I definitely think Wokes is gone, and I think they will have to go away from the spin option as well. So they'll go in with 4 quicks. Do you agree with that, Harmy?
I think we'll go in with 4 quicks. As much as I want Chris Wokes as number 8, which shouldn't be said. You shouldn't be 4 bowlers bowl, 6 batsmen bat, and a man stands there and keeps it. Simple as that. The best way of... I was always... Graham Fowler, the great Foxy Fowler. If you follow him on Twitter, he's a brilliant bloke. He played for Lancashire, for England, and for Durham. He once gave me a bit of advice on cricket. He said, Harmy, somebody hits it, somebody bowls it, somebody hits it, and somebody fetches it. And if you can keep the game as simple as that, you've got half a chance of succession. And I was like, right, yeah, fair enough. And for me, you've got 4 bowlers. Their job is to bowl. You've got 6 batsmen. Our job is to score runs. And a wicketkeeper who catches it and hopefully comes in with a bit of runs is a simple game plan in itself. For me, if Wokes does have to miss out, because I think Robinson and Wood probably deserve to play over him from the Brisbane Test match, it's an absolute no-brainer that Broad and Anderson walk into this team at Adelaide with the pink ball and hopefully try and get England back into the series.
Yep. No, I agree with you. And we'll leave it on that, because you've given good advice out there to everyone. Keep it simple. You bowl the ball, you hit the ball, and you go and fetch it. And hopefully that when you're fetching it, it's gone straight in your hands and you've got the wicket. So, Harmy, I think we're going to be live on the 15th, you and I again, aren't we? Just before the next Test match. So make sure you all join Harmy and me there on Harmy's channel, where he'll go live, and you can get on there and ask all the questions as well. So we all love your support, and Harmy, I'm sorry that you guys lost it over here. I wish it went for 5 days. I wish it was a lot closer than what it was. But hopefully you can get back in the series and really challenge Australia.
Fingers crossed.
Thanks, guys. All right. See you all.